Well, hello and welcome to an impromptu live stream if anybody is out there. And I did mention yesterday that I was going to do another live stream in regards to some more information that has now come to light in regards to the crowning of their false messiah. Now, anybody who has been listening into the live streams knows that I did a live stream in regards to the false king's coronation that is going to be taking place on the 6th of May, and I showed how there were going to be very symbolic circumstances around his coronation. Hello, Rochelle, good to see you. At least there's one person listening to my live stream. Look, I know with these impromptu live streams that I don't get a big audience listening in while I'm doing the live stream, and that's okay. It's just so that the video exists and then people can come and listen to the video later. I also like to do some of these live streams at night time, my time anyway, because I know that that gives a chance for people over in the UK and some people over in Europe to also get a chance to listen in to the live streams while I'm actually doing them live, because it's a little bit difficult when I'm doing them in the morning my time, because then it's really early in the morning for them, like literally I think it's like 1 o'clock in the morning or something. So I did say in yesterday's live stream that I wanted to bring this information out. I do want to bring this information out. I don't know how many people are aware of all the different symbolic events that are going to be taking place during the crowning of their false messiah, and he is their false messiah. Now, people will scoff and say, no, it can't possibly be King Charles. King Charles, the false King Charles cannot possibly be the false messiah because he's a mummy's boy. He doesn't look very evil. He's kind of got that real goofy quality to him. But remember that the false messiah was going to be someone that we didn't actually believe was going to be the false messiah. It was going to be someone we weren't expecting. And so, I mean, he literally ticks all the boxes when it comes to someone that we believe would be least likely to be the false messiah. And here he is. They're about to crown their false messiah this coming Saturday, the 6th of May. If you actually do the numerology on his full name, it is 144. Anybody that listens into the live streams, that understands the knowledge to the level that you should understand the knowledge if you want to understand your enemies, knows how important the number 144 is in regards to the divine souls within humanity. And so he's their version of the Messiah, because everything that happens in divine operation, they also mirror in their own way. And when you start to understand that everything that is taking place now is their version of them being gods on the material plane in these last degrees of the Iron Age, before we actually move towards the apocalypse, then you know why they are acting the way they are acting. I mean, once you understand who they are, once you understand the knowledge and what is approaching mankind, then you understand why they are psychopaths and why the world has gone completely insane over the last 3 years, because we're moving towards a tipping point. And we are on a time, there is timing in everything, divine timing in everything, even in the way that they are going to be playing out their own script, because they are playing out their own script just like there is a divine operation, and we see that in the scriptures, in the biblical scriptures. Well, they're playing out their own script as well, and they know that they have a timeline and that they have to play out their own script and what they want to do and enact on humanity before they lose control of the material plane. And because we are moving towards a time where it's going to start getting very unstable, so we're going to start experiencing more earthquakes, we're going to start experiencing more volcanic activity, and they're going to be these earth changes are going to be more severe, and they're going to happen more often. We're going to start seeing more severe weather patterns. We can already see that the weather patterns have changed. The jet stream has completely changed. We're getting heat anomalies, we're getting cold anomalies. What they do is sensationalize the heat anomalies and then push the narrative that there's global warming and it's human induced. But when you actually stand back and look at the picture in full, you can see that normally when we have heat anomalies, when there's a heat wave, it's followed by anomalous cold weather. Okay, we're seeing that over and over again because the jet stream has changed. The polar vortex has basically separated, and it doesn't just stay on the polar caps anymore. It moves down towards the equator, and the waves of the polar vortex move further south or move further towards the equator than they have been. And it's not just further south, because we've been experiencing in Australia as well. This is why we're getting record cold, record snow events. We've had record snow events that have just happened in the northern hemisphere in winter that we've just had. But then we're getting also record heat events as well, because it's becoming so unstable. When it becomes too unstable, they will unleash. And we're getting closer and closer to that time, which is why they've decided it was time to retire the old lizard queen and roll out the false messiah. Okay, and that is going to be the false King Charles. And now I've got some pictures on a loop that you can see while I am giving you all this information, and you'll see that there's a throne there. Now that throne, underneath that throne, you'll see that there is actually a block of stone, which is called the Stone of Scone, or the Stone of Fial. That is literally connected to the Teutha De Danann. You will never see them say that. They put a article out, which I have got on this loop as well. They put an article out the other day in regards to how significant the coronation throne is, and they were talking about the stone, but they were only relating it to when King Edward stole it from the Scottish. Okay, they didn't go any further back than that. So if you keep going further back, you'll see that when you look into the mythology of the Teutha De Danann, who were the Irish it's the Irish mythology of the divine souls, the Teutha De Danann, which was King Danu, Queen Danu and King Nuada, you will see that the Stone of Destiny, it's called the Stone of Destiny, and apparently when the rightful king placed his foot upon the Stone of Destiny, it roared. Now, it was connected to the Teutha De Danann with that legend. You won't see that in any of their articles, and the reason that they are using that stone for this crowning of their false messiah is because they know it's directly related to the divine souls, the divine race. And the King Nuada was a symbol for the firstborn divine son. So the firstborn divine son, i.e. Jesus the Christ, the Messiah, or one of the Messiahs, because if you understand the knowledge to the level that you should, you'll understand that each of the races have their own Messiah, that Jesus is just symbolizing the very firstborn son, very firstborn male of the divine race, but there also are firstborn males of each of the four races. So the white, the red, the black, and the yellow. If this is all new information to you, I suggest you go back and look at some of my videos, listen to some of my live streams. I pretty much spell it out in every live stream for people who are just finding this information and this knowledge now. This is the knowledge that they have stolen from us. This is the knowledge that they were burning people alive who dared to move outside of their approved narrative. And this is the knowledge that if mankind understood the truth, then they would wake up very, very quickly. But mankind are in a stupor. They have been socially engineered. We are now all bickering against each other. They are playing the divide and conquer on us very successfully. And there is no chance in hell of us waking up, guys. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but we are done. Put a fork in it. It's not going to get any better than it is now. It's just going to get incrementally worse because we're not waking up. And I see even today, I see people saying that we all need to get together and stand up and fight back. How? Please, somebody tell me how we're going to do that. Because, you know, when we actually staged a revolution against those who were evil and took power and were corrupted, it was underground, guys. It was done in secret. There is no way that we can do that now, okay? Because all of our communications are through social media, and even our cell phones are all tracked and surveilled, and we are watched and listened in on every minute of the day with everything we say. So it's gone, guys. Our window of opportunity to rise up has gone, and we're too divided now, okay? We're too separated. We're separated along lines of race. We're separated along lines of religion. We're separated along lines of gender. We're separated along lines of, you know, you name it. Generation, you know, the boomers against you know, the millennials. I mean, every single way that they could divide us, they've successfully done it. Okay, and it's sad to see what's happened to us. But we really had our opportunity prior to 9/11. That was when they locked us down. They began to lock us down. 9/11 was the beginning of it, and we weren't really all connected through the internet at that time. We still had some kind of opportunity to rise up, but we lost that opportunity, and now we're literally in their digital gulag right now. We just haven't identified it yet. Okay, but we're already imprisoned and enslaved. They're just playing with us like a cat plays with its prey before they kill it. Okay, and they're mocking us. So you can see them doing that now. You know, when they do things that are just so corrupt and you just can't believe they're actually doing it right in front of our faces. Like they're being so corrupt and they don't even care that we know it. It's because they don't care that we know it. Because they know there's nothing we can do. And we can just delude ourselves and pretend that we can rise up, you know, and everybody's waking up. There's a mass awakening happening right now. No, there isn't. Because people have woken up to the fact that our governments are corrupted, but that's about as far as they've got. They don't actually go any further. They pretty much just listen to any of the alternative media that tell them what they want to hear, and they don't actually look any further into the spiritual aspect of everything. And there's a reason that the Vatican are their own country and that all roads lead to Rome, and it's because everything that's happening now originates in the spiritual realm, because it's all to do with the cycle of the soul, which is the 26,000 year great year that they don't tell us about, they don't talk about, even though every ancient culture around the world all identified and spoke of the great year and its importance. We don't speak of it now, even though it's evident in the way that our planet moves and the way the constellations move and the way it's not like I'm just making it up when I say there's a great year precessional cycle. It literally is something that we can measure. Okay, so we're moving now out of the Iron Age, and before we move back into the beginning of a new great year, we have to experience some pretty bad shit. And it's called lots of different things. You guys probably know it's called the apocalypse. It's called Armageddon. It's called the Ragnarok. Okay, the Muslims have a name for it. The Persians have a name for it. Every culture, the Mayans have a name for it. They all have a name for it, and they all say the same thing. bad shit happens, really bad shit happens at the end of the cycle before the new cycle starts again. So that's where we're heading, and that's why these psychopaths are starting to play out their script now in a way that's more apparent to us, okay? Because they really don't care anymore that we know that they're evil. They're waiting for us to find out. They're waiting for us to finally get it. You know, they're putting it in our faces and they're mocking us and laughing at us because they're like, what do we have to do to wake these idiots up? They just don't want to wake up. Look at them. Look at them. You know, that's literally what they're doing to us right now. So don't be one of those people, okay? And that's why I'm putting out this information, because, you know, I want more people to wake up to just how evil these pieces of shit are. And I can tell you, after the 6th of May, this Saturday, things are going to get very dark, okay? They've just hit pause now. Do you really think that the evil in control of our world that literally was locking us down a couple of, you know, for 3 years, I mean, a year ago, it was still going, okay? We still see the, you know, the term bandied around, okay? Literally forcing 80% of the global population to get a vaccination of an experimental vaccine. Okay, that's going to trigger the algorithm. They are still evil. Okay, even though they've just hit pause, all right, they're still evil. They haven't changed. Our leaders haven't changed. You know, the Jesuits still sitting on the throne in the Vatican, the royal family. By the way, the royal family has been successively in power. That bloodline, the fake royal family, okay, they're not real royals. Real royals are divine, and we don't know who the divine are amongst humanity right now. But that's where the terminology of royalty come from. So real royalty was known because they literally glowed. The gods glowed. Okay, that's another way that you can call a divine soul is a god with a little g. Okay, and this is why a lot of people get confused with the mythology of other religions and other mythologies, because they think that they're polytheists, and they're not. They're just talking about the gods with a little g, the divine souls. And so they have literally been in power for 1200 years. Okay, these pieces of shit, all right? And 600-700 years ago, the same Catholic Church, the same organisation that's been in successive power for 1700 years that we know of, since the Council of Nicaea, okay, and we definitely know they've been in power for at least the last 800 years, because remember, there was 200 years where there's no written records of anything. It's just 200 years of nothing, okay? So who the hell knows what happened during the Dark Ages, right? So, but we know that for at least the last 800 years, the Catholic Church in its present form has been in power. And we know for the last 1200 years that the Windsors, if you want to call them that, or the Mountbattens, okay, they go by Windsor, but when you actually look at their name, it's Mountbatten. And their bloodline that is currently on the throne can be traced back 1200 years. So they were all together during the burnings, and they're still hanging out now, okay, because I'm showing you pictures of where they're hanging out together now. And I find it interesting that when Diana went and met with the Pope, when she went with the false king, or the false prince Charles, to go and meet the Pope, she had to wear black. But you notice how Camilla doesn't wear black. Notice how the Queen doesn't wear black. Okay? Notice when the wives of some presidents and prime ministers go and visit the Pope, some of them wear black. Like Trump's arm piece, what was her name? Melania, right? She wore black, right? But notice when Macron's arm piece goes to visit the Pope, she doesn't wear black. Okay? So that is going to give you an idea of the hierarchy of the people in power. So all you can do is just basically watch what they're doing now, because we've got no power to change anything. At least you can be informed. Okay, at least you can be informed, because they don't like that. All right, which is why I continue to put out information, because it gives them the big FU. And I wish I could really just color my vocabulary and how I want to describe these pieces of shit, but I can't, because we've now moved into a time of censorship, and YouTube will censor me and probably take my channel down if I start really giving my full array of adjectives that I want to use right now about these pieces of shit. So pieces of shit is about as strong as it's going to get, guys. I'm sorry. I really would like to give a stronger adjective than that. So anyway, why did I want to do this live stream? What was the other information that I had to bring forward to you guys and let you know? Well, guess what? For the first time in history, during a coronation, they are going to actually get the public to swear allegiance to the false messiah. Okay, and now we know what idiots 99% of the population are, and most of them live their lives on social media. They all think they're so special, they all want attention, and they'll all do whatever it takes to get their 15 minutes of fame. So how many of these morons do you think are going to film themselves giving their allegiance to the false messiah? And that's exactly what they want. Because when it all plays out that they unveil who they really are, and they will, all truths will be known, because remember, that's the divine operation on the physical plane. All truths will be known eventually, okay? They're playing out the same script in their own way. And so they're going to reveal who they are when the time is right. We are going to know who they are. And when that happens, they are going to laugh at us and mock the masses, mock the idiots, the 99% of humanity, and say, you swore allegiance to us. You knew we were evil. You knew we were burning people 600 years ago. You knew that we were raping children. You knew that we had connections to pedophiles like Jeffrey Epstein. You knew that we were corrupted, and yet you did nothing about it. You still swore allegiance to us, and you have no one to blame but yourself, because that's what they want to do. They want to basically show humanity that they did this to themselves, because that's how judgment and the weighing of the heart works anyway in divine operation on the ethereal plane, on the soul, is that there are laws set in stone, okay, divine laws, universal laws that can't be transgressed, and when the soul transgresses those universal laws, we bring about our own destruction. And so they want to be able to do the same thing to humanity and say the same thing to humanity, that it's our fault. We took this path. We chose the path of corruption. We chose to be greedy. We chose to indulge in our vices. They just gave it to us and made it easy for us to take the paths that we've taken. I mean, I'm not going to say that's not the case. They've just served up porn on the internet now. It doesn't have to be paid for anymore. They've just served up gluttony, especially in the West, fast food, Kentucky Fried Chicken, McDonald's, eat yourself stupid, people so obese that they're, driving themselves around on those little electric scooters because their asses are too fat to carry them. Their legs can't carry their fat asses around. They're not actually sick. They're just gluttonous. They're just, they're just greedy. And then we've been greedy materially as well. Okay, and they've made that easy for us as well, because they started to offshore all of our manufacturing so that Chinese slaves could make shit for $1, all right? And then we got to buy it really cheap as well. So we bought all this shit that we didn't need. I mean, you know, $2 shops. I don't know what you guys call it over there. We call them $2 shops over here in Australia. They started around the late, I would say the late 90s. The $2 shops started popping up everywhere, you know, probably from 95 onwards. They were really prevalent, and that was because they wanted to encourage our greed as well. Okay, and now they're encouraging our vices in regards to being racist. You know, they've made it easy for people to cross the border over into the US, and so that makes Americans dislike Mexican people. And then, you know, that they've made them not like their neighboring country because of that. And they've actually done that by design, okay? And I don't agree that the border should just be taken down, because it's the system that we're in. If we didn't live in this system and everything was peaceful, then fine. But you can't just expect that a system that is built for the benefit of a certain amount of people, a certain population, can suddenly just have an influx of, you know, hundreds of thousands of people that are going to place more pressure on that system of housing, of social security, of medical, and that something's not going to break. Of course something's going to break. You know, I don't like the system as it is, full stop, but we live in this system. And so as soon as the system starts to be corrupted because they're not following the same rules that they used to follow for, what, decades and decades and decades when it comes to immigration, and now they're just saying anybody can come over, you don't have to be illegal, you know, you don't have to have legal papers, you can just come across and we're going to look after you and give you everything you need. Of course that's going to break the system, and then of course the people that already live in that country are going to suffer at the hands of their government, who are just, you know, allowing others to come into the country and place such pressure onto all of the different agencies. So they've set that up by design too, guys. Okay, so, you know, you just have to be aware and not fall into that. You know, even this whole, you know, black-white thing at the moment, you know, Black Lives Matters, that's totally orchestrated. It's all been set up. It's all been by design. Okay, go and have a look at who the people are that run that organization. They're all corrupt. Okay, and it's all there to get us bickering and fighting so that they can say, you did this. You are the ones that did this to each other, because that's what they're going to do at the end of the day. So they're going to get people to swear allegiance to them. Basically, I'll just read some of the article. It says, people watching the coronation will be invited to join a chorus of millions to swear allegiance to the king and his heirs. So not only the king, the false messiah, also his bloodline. Okay, they want us to swear allegiance to this bloodline. Okay, this false messiah and his bloodline. Okay, I just can't see how people do not identify what's going on here. I don't get it. The public pledge is one of several striking changes to the ancient ceremony revealed on Saturday. So they're having a whole heap of firsts in this coronation as well. Okay, so it's not just the public swearing allegiance, which they've never done before. They're also doing all these other things they've never done before as well. So they're saying that female clergy will play a prominent role in this coronation. Well, you know, newsflash, guys. Before these pieces of shit Catholic Church took control of everything 1700 years ago, when they used the Council of Nicaea to decide on what books would go into the Bible and take away the voice of the female was actually very active within spiritual matters and spiritual teaching, and the teaching of spiritual matters, which is why we see the Gospel of Philip talk about Mary Magdalene, and why there is a Gospel of Mary Magdalene as well, and why some of the scriptures say that Mary Magdalene was the wife of Jesus, Okay, and even in the ancient philosophies, I think it was Pythagoras, but there were female philosophers. Okay, so females are important in the teaching of spiritual matters because they have a different kind of intellect called the Bina intellect as opposed to the Chokma intellect, which is the male. And so together they access divine knowledge and divine revelation by utilizing both kinds of intellect. And this is why the Catholic Church took the voice of the female out of the churches. And now they've decided they're going to put the voice back in to the churches. Well, not in any real, way, because it's just symbolic in this coronation. They're not actually going to allow any Catholic female priests, are they? And, there were, literally torture items, torture, whatever you call them, torture equipment, I don't know what you call them, where females had their faces encaged into these metal cages and these barbed, spiked metal objects placed in her mouth so she couldn't actually move her mouth at all. This is what they were doing 600, 700 years ago, guys. These are the same people that are in power now. There's been no break in the handing down of power, okay, for at least 1,000 years that we know of. So we know that I'm not just saying this. You can literally go and have a look and see that the succession line of the popes goes back to when they were burning people, torturing people, and doing this to females, okay, because they were making a example of any female who dared to speak out of turn, because they fear the female intellect. And I'm not talking about these idiotic females these days who are so stupid that they actually think their empowerment comes from their tits and ass. I mean, they're an embarrassment to my gender. They disgust me in every way, because the power of the female comes from her mind, comes from her intellect. Well, that's been completely turned upside down because they've fooled these idiots into believing that the power of the female comes from her tits and ass. And that if she dare be the homemaker, how horrible if a female has to actually be a mother, who has to actually, look after her family and stay home and look after her children and cook her husband dinner. Oh, how oppressive, how horrible. Idiots. So they would rather go out and slave their asses off for 40 hours a week and then come home and do all those things because they're so empowered. These morons fell for this feminist movement that started in the 70s, okay? Germaine Greer, one of the Antichrist whores who started this whole movement of these females convincing modern females that they had it so bad, that they had it so horrible because, wow, they stayed home and cooked dinner and looked after their family and raised the children that they had. Now they just go and farm them out to strangers all week. And then we wonder why society is falling apart at the seams while children are, suiciding at 12 years old now, 11 years old, because they're so lost. They're so empty. They don't know where they belong. They have no spiritual understanding of themselves. That, their idiotic parents have just served them up to the beast, okay? And part of that is, shoving them in daycare and having strangers raise them from the moment they're born. Nothing makes me sadder than watching a child of 3 months old being shoved into a daycare centre while mum goes out and works her ass off all week because she's so freaking oppressed if she had to stay home and actually raise that kid that she just had. I mean, why have them? Why have children if you're not going to raise them? Selfish bitches. Right, now, the Christian service will also see religious leaders from other faiths have an active part for the first time. Another first, guys. Another first. Okay, and you know why that's a first? Because they're bringing together all of the religions. Now, once again, right, once again, they're basically copying. Hang on, I'm just going to delete this idiot who's annoying me in the... I've just got to get his channel up. They don't make it easy to get rid of these morons. And they come onto these streams and they just annoy the shit out of me because I get distracted. And so I need to actually go to his channel, find his stupid ass, and block him. Done. All right. Okay. So, yes, they're bringing together all of the religions. Okay, so now once upon a time, right, and I often say to you guys, and actually if you go and look at my I don't know what you call it when you have your little saying on your channel, and my little saying has been for years and years the one that Paracelsus says, that the number of knowledge is one because all knowledge comes from a single point. All right, and that is true. Okay. But in these times, we do not want to see them bring everything and consolidate their power together, because all of the religions have been infiltrated and they're all antichrist religions. So now they're just consolidating their power even more. So they've fragmented off all of the religions, turned us against each other to, you know, pretending that we all believe in different things. And all they've done is just interpret the scriptures differently so that we all believe that we're actually worshipping a different God. So idiotic Christians, modern Christians, actually think that Muslims are worshipping a different God, okay? But Allah is the Aramaic name for God. If you meet a Christian who speaks Aramaic or who lives in the Middle East, right, and just happens to be a Christian living in a Middle Eastern country that speaks Arabic, right, they call God Allah, okay, even though they're Christian, because that's the name for God, okay? It's just a different language. Well, these idiots are so stupid, they don't go and actually do any research. And so they've been convinced that Allah is a completely different God from Yahweh or God the Creator. Well, look, modern Christians are so stupid. They're actually worshipping the Son as God now. You can thank the Council of Nicaea for that as well, because that's when they actually removed God the Father as the figure, as the Godhead, right, and replaced him with Jesus. Okay, and now all these idiots are, you know, worshipping Jesus as God, and then when you try and help them and show them how they're being led astray, they just abuse you, or they say some stupid shit like, oh, you just don't understand the Trinity. I mean, they don't understand the Trinity. That's why they say it, because they don't understand it, and they just think that that's just a justification that they can get away with, and somehow that it magically works, that if they say, well, you just don't understand the Trinity, that somehow the Trinity makes Jesus God. When the Trinity, you know, when you actually read the Trinity, and they do have a symbol where they say that the Father is not the Son is not the Holy Spirit is not the Father, but the Father is everything, okay? So it's like God the Father is everything, because God the Father created everything, okay? We're literally existing in his mental expression, his mental universe, his mental projection, okay? So everything around us is God. He's created. It is created of God the Father. Does it make the rock over there God? Does it make the fish God? Does it make the tree God? I mean, that's how stupid they are. It is telling them that the Trinity is telling them that God has fragmented into separate parts, but that doesn't make every single part the same and equal to God the Father. But anyway, I'm not going to go down that avenue. So they're going to bring all the religions together, guys. I've been warning about this for years and years and years, okay? I've done memes about it. I've shared memes in my groups. All of my groups have been taken down pretty much anyway. I got banned off Facebook in 2016. or 2015, one of those years. And the other students were actually trying to keep the groups going, but it was just, it was just, we could see that it was just not working. And so a lot of the information that I had all those years ago, we tried to replicate it, but we lost a lot of it. But anybody that has been following me for years, and I know a lot of you guys have been following me since the beginning, because you're now telling me, which surprises me. I didn't realize that there were so many of you who were still following me from 2011. And so you guys know that I have been saying this, that they were bringing the religions together, and they were foreshadowing it, because that's what they do. They foreshadow this stuff, right? And that's when I pick up on it. I'm just good at recognizing that type of stuff, and recognizing when they start putting out this type of foreshadowing. I just seem to be able to see what they're doing with it. And so I was warning about the pandemic in 2016, by the way. There is still a video on my channel where I have was warning people that they were going to bring a pandemic in to lock us down and take away our freedoms. They were going to beta test a pandemic on us. Okay, you can go back and see that. It's still on my channel. Okay, so they've been foreshadowing the whole bringing together of all the religions for a very long time. Okay, and I know a lot of you guys have picked up on this anyway. It wasn't just me, because it was pretty in your face. I mean, a lot of times, we've seen that the Vatican has had different religious leaders come and visit the Vatican. I know they had the imam, I don't know how you say that, is it the imam of the Muslims? Like, he's the top guy of the Muslim clergy, okay, Islamic top dude. He went over to the Vatican. That was, I think, it was when Obama was still in power. I remember that, because Obama gave a book to the Vatican as well. And so I could see back then. And then there was another one just before. There was a big bombardment of, it was about a year or a few, I can't remember the exact timing, but the Pope went over to Israel, got up on stage with a Islamic leader and a leader of Judaism, and they held up a book together. They had a painting of little baby Jesus in the background, and he was wearing one of those Arabic, scarves that they wear, the black and white scarves. I know there's a name for it. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But little baby Jesus was wrapped in one of those scarves. And I mean, I was just looking at it going, what the hell? Like, hello, everybody. Are people seeing this? But no, everybody was too distracted, because they're always playing these distractions on us. And so when they actually, in our faces do things like that, there's some other distraction going on at the time that everybody else is just, chasing their tail with. And I'm out there screaming about it. Look at this, look what they're doing. They're going to bring the religions together. And people just like, yeah, sure, whatever, like, you're such a doomer. Yeah, and pretty much everything I've been saying is now starting to play out. And as I said, I called the pandemic in 2016, and I am going to actually remind everybody of that, because I got a lot of hate when I was warning people, that I was a doomer, that I was a fearmonger, full of shit, don't listen to her. She's just a negative person. She's always so negative. And, unfortunately, I called it and it happened. And I'm calling it now again. So it's up to you guys whether you want to listen to me or not. It really doesn't make any difference to me. Really doesn't make any difference to the antichrists that are in control of our world, whether you believe what I'm saying or whether you go and research what I'm saying or not, because they're still going to play out their scripts regardless of whether you believe what I'm saying. The whole motivation behind me putting this information out is so that you empower yourself with this knowledge. And it's just the more people that are empowered, the less power they have over us. I mean, they've still got power over our physical bodies, okay? They're going to play out their next script on us, their next subplot on us regardless. There's nothing we can do, okay? We don't have the power anymore to fight back. But we do have the power to know the truth, and so we can actually give them an FU and say, well, I know the truth, and I know you're just a piece of shit, and I know that I'm a soul, and that you can't destroy my soul no matter what you do to my body. And so they hate it that we know that, okay? So the more people that know that, the better, because it's taking power away from them. The only reason they have power over us is because they've stolen the knowledge. You know, this is literally what they were doing 600-700 years ago, what they used the Crusades for, what they used the Spanish Inquisition for, what they used all of these, you know, reforming the pagans and saving the pagans. It wasn't about saving anybody. It was about stealing the knowledge from all the other cultures and anybody else that had all of this knowledge that they didn't want us to have, and then either slaughtering these people or just stealing the knowledge and then slaughtering these people and burning down their villages. And you know, I mean, we pretty much know what the Catholic Church were up to, which is why I just don't understand why people can't put two and two together when the same evil pieces of shit that were in power 600-700 years ago are still in power today. And all of the global leaders still go over and kiss his ring, don't they? They still go over and kiss the Pope's ring, don't they? And we know that the Pope is very connected to the WEF as well, the World Economic Forum, okay? He loves the World Economic Forum. He's always talking them up, okay? They're listed as partners on that site. But no, people still just can't put two and two together. I don't get it. I really don't. So we know that they're bringing the religions all together now. So they're finally going to do this one world religion. And so I think things are going to escalate pretty rapidly because they've kind of hit pause for the last year now. And they've kind of put everything, you know, on the kind of back burner. Everyone's dropped their guard now. Everyone's thinking things are all good. You know, okay, interest rates are going up a bit and there's a little bit of problem with the banks. Oh, don't worry about that. It's all good. It'll work out. And everyone's just gone back into the matrix and they're just, you know, going back into their miserable, meaningless lives again as though nothing even happened, you know, a year or so ago, that just doesn't even factor anymore, even though 80% of the population, you know, received this experimental jab. I mean, but hey, let's just forget that ever happened. You know, let's just forget all of that because everyone's just, you know, gone back into, you know, being that robotic, mindless drone, and nobody really is kind of thinking about what just happened. You know, we've just all moved forward again. It's like it never even happened. That was just something we don't want to remember. But no, they remember because the same people are in power still. Remember I was saying that before? They haven't gone away. They haven't gone anywhere. They've just hit pause, okay? Because they've got to play out this next part of their script. They've got to crown their messiah, their false messiah. Okay, so I think that after they crown their false messiah, things are going to escalate pretty quickly. Okay, and I think it's going to start with all of the financial shit show. And you can absolutely guarantee that it's going to include the banks failing. Okay, and when the banks fail, the shit is going to hit the fan big time. And I have actually done a video about the banks all failing, and that's going to be part of them resetting us into a new system. And that system's going to be full-blown communism. Okay, and we're going to be put on central bank digital currency. We're going to be on a universal basic income. And everyone who currently has a mortgage is going to not own their home, even if you only have, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. It doesn't matter. If the bank has anything to do with your mortgage right now, you are screwed. Okay, so I think that is going to play out this year. Before the end of the year, I think that it will be the first subplot that they're going to play after they've crowned their false messiah. I don't know about timing, guys, okay? I wish I did. I really do. I can't tell you that. All I can tell you is when I see their foreshadowing, I pick up on their foreshadowing and what they've got planned for us. And plus, because I know they're psychopaths and I know they're on a time frame that they have to get everything done and they're running out of time. So I know they've got certain cards they've got to play. I know the global financial collapse is one of those cards, and I know World War III is another card. So the global financial collapse will be the first card. That is going to bring in food shortages to the Western countries. We are going to experience worse than the Depression. We are going to experience food shortages and a lot of unrest. And that's when they're going to bring in their own saviors to save us. So all of these current corrupt government are going to be done away with, and they're going to roll out some very charismatic new leaders who are going to be there to save us, okay? And I can guarantee you that 99% of these idiots in our in humanity, okay, are going to accept whatever saviors come along, okay, because they're going to be hungry and they're going to just want a warm meal, somewhere to, shelter. And so they're going to bring in, they're going to say the old government were terrible and corrupt and there was so much homelessness and drug addiction and, it was just at crisis levels. And so the only way to fix all that is to be communist, okay, and to share out everything equally. Okay, so that's coming, guys, all right? I do think it's going to be this year because if you look at Christine Lagarde, and I think it was in 2015 or 2014, if you actually go and Google or just put it into YouTube, Christine Lagarde, now she is the president or the chairwoman of the European Central Bank. She put out a video or put out a news release, a press release in 2014, I think it was, or 2015. As I said, put this in YouTube. Christine Lagarde, magic number 7. She literally got up on the stage, got up on the podium to the press, and for about 5 minutes spoke about how they love the number 7, the magical number 7, and how everything was about the number 7. Okay, this is the chairperson of the European Central Bank. Okay, up there talking about the magical number 7. Now, most people won't even remember that. These kind of things I pay attention to and I remember. I remember because I am a student of numerology and esoteric sciences, and I know how important numerology is. It isn't just some thing that some, new age spiritualist or guru or astrologist does because your name spells out a certain thing, and it's here's the number of your destiny number and this means you are this personality. That's bullshit. Okay, that's what they want you to think numerology is, and that's not what numerology is. Okay, numerology is literally the backbone of the universe. It is the blueprint upon which everything is built, and it is so important. It is one of the most important esoteric sciences, and it's why they use it in everything. And I'm often showing how they use a lot of the numerology in their false flags that they do. The towns that they do their false flags in, the names of the people that they use to do their false flags. Okay, so you can see that on my in my Shift of the Ages groups. Me and the other students are always posting their numerology that they use. So as I said before, if any of you weren't listening at the beginning of the live stream, their false messiah, Charles, his full name, okay, his last name is Mountbatten. It's not Windsor. His full name, when you reduce it, okay, when you reduce it to numbers, it's 144. Okay, that's how I know he's their false messiah, because I know how important the number is 144 to the Christed. Okay, it's the number of Jesus Christ. Okay, you're not going to have a clergy tell you that either. All right, you have to go and look this information up for yourself, because, well, they destroyed pretty much as much of the knowledge that they could. So I've spent 12 years trying to piece it all back together so that I could understand what they had stolen from us and what they were hiding from us. So bringing all the religions together. And so this is what they're actually going to say, what they're going to get everybody to say, okay? When they pledge allegiance to the false Messiah, this is what they want everybody saying. They want them to say, I swear that I will pay true allegiance to your majesty and to your heirs and successors according to law, so help me God. And you know what, as I just said before, the idiots will say it. I'm telling you now, after May the 6th, get ready, guys. Social media is going to be inundated with these morons videoing themselves saying this pledge of allegiance to the false Messiah of the Antichrists. Okay? So I think things are going to get pretty dark after that. I don't think we're going to have long to wait. You know, maybe a couple of weeks. You know, they love to, you know, have us in this little false sense of security, a little bubble of security. Oh, nothing's happening. What was Dee talking about? Nothing's happened. You wait a month or two. You wait a couple of weeks and a month. You wait and see. I'm telling you, they've just hit pause until they crown their false Messiah. And then they're going to step it up. There's going to be a lot more false flags, a lot more mass shootings, a lot more chemical spills, a lot more oil spills. You know, a lot more of all of these types of destructive events that are just accidents. It's just an accident. Is it? Is it really? Well, so the service is also going to include Muslims, Hindus, Jewish and Sikh peers, and they're going to present the false king, piece of shit, Antichrist, false Messiah of the coronation with coronation regalia, including bracelets, the robe, the ring and the glove. And I can tell you now that there's going to be so much symbolism surrounding all of these objects that they give this false Messiah of theirs, okay, including that chair that he's sitting on. Now they're going to video that and they're going to make mention of that stone, okay, because they know that that stone is connected to the real Messiah, the true gods of humanity, the true royalty of humanity, the divine souls, the 288 divine souls of humanity. They know that, and they're going to want you to see that because they're going to put it in our minds. They want the hive mind. They want us to see that. And then they want us to pledge allegiance to them. Okay, they are saying a huge FU to the divine race right now. This is what it's going to be. It's basically them mocking the divine souls. And the divine souls don't even know who they are anyway, okay, because nobody knows who the divine are among humanity right now, because we're not at that time in the cycle right now. We're moving towards that cycle. Okay, it happens during the apocalypse. Okay, and that is when the four horsemen, and you see Kalki and the Hindu, and Kalki also has three brothers. Kalki, the destroyer of filth. He also represents the firstborn divine male coming back to slay the filth, to get rid of the filth. And this is why Jesus says he returns with a sword. He returns not to bring peace. He returns to bring war. He returns to take heads. Okay, he's not coming back holding a little lamb, singing Kumbaya with all the Christians, okay? He hates them. He's going to hate these modern Christians because they are literally following the Antichrists. They are literally helping the Antichrist to mock Jesus and the Christed. Okay, so they are among mankind right now. I've mentioned this many times in other streams. If you want more information, if you're just finding this live stream now and you're going, what the hell is she talking about? Go back and listen to my live streams. Don't go leaving, you know, comments on my video about this. Go back and watch my live streams. Go and watch all the videos. I've got 12 years of research on my channel, okay? If you really want to know, go and look at it, because I'm not going to explain it in the comment section of my video. If you want to know, go and seek. Seek and ye shall find. So that is what this is going to be. And you know, literally these live streams are really for the people that do understand this knowledge. I don't stop other people from listening into these live streams. I don't make them private. I allow everybody to be able to access this knowledge. But really, I am directing this knowledge to those who have gone and done the work, to those who have gone and done the research, to those who do go and study and want to know the truth. That's who this video is really for. But if you are just finding this video, well, maybe that is just destiny has played in your favor. You've taken the right path, you've followed the path and found this video. It's come up in your, I don't know, recommendation, which is surprising given that YouTube pretty much shadow bans me and makes it hard for me to get my information out there. But if that is the case, well, that should be something that you go and then utilize to your advantage, because you now have some information that you're not going to find anywhere else, because you won't find anybody else talking about this information that I'm talking about. Because most of the new agers out there, like Greg Braden, okay, and his ilk, all right, they're all part of the Antichrist movement too, all right? They're there with a false path for people that want to go down a spiritual avenue, a spiritual path, because they don't like religion, and so they've found the New Age. And the New Age is just another false path that the Antichrists have put down for people. So you won't hear anybody speaking about any of this information, okay? Nobody, all right? Because nobody's actually gone and done any cross-culture research for the last 12 years for no other reason, because they wanted to find the truth, okay? You won't find a donate button on my channel, okay? I've never asked for 1 cent, never will. Okay, so I've got no financial motivation, no financial agenda here, if you believe me or don't. I can't, you know, I don't really care if people believe me or not. As I said, this video is really for the people who already are understanding the situation that we're in, how it's about to get a lot darker, who our enemy really are, what they've been doing for the last at least 1,000 years, okay, how they've hidden behind the religions, okay, and pretended to be holy men, how they've taken their thrones by force and under, you know, duress and bloodshed and slaughter, okay. These pieces of shit, this bloodline that are on the throne now, do you think that they just took their, oh, can we please have the throne? Can you just please hand it over? No! They literally took the throne by force and through bloodshed and hacking people and killing people and slaughtering people. All of them did this. Even the pieces of shit antichrists who hide behind the Catholic religion have taken their power by force. Just look what they did to the Cathars, to the Gnostic Christians, the real Christians. Right, now I did say that Christine Lagarde, sorry, somebody just said number 7 and I forgot to finish off what I was saying. I'm going to actually finish this live stream soon too. I don't want it to go too much longer. The number 7 equates to the ethereal plane. But more importantly, she said back in 2014, I think it was, as I said, go Google, go put this in YouTube, Christine Lagarde, magic number 7. You'll see the actual media presentation she did about it. The number 7 equates to 2023. Okay, 2 plus 2 plus 3 equals 7. So that's why I do believe that this year is the year they're going to play out their financial shit show card. Their financial subplot, okay, where they bring everything down. And we can already see it's beginning. We've already had banks failing, but they're propping them up because they're not ready to play that card yet. They're just going to keep propping it up until they're ready to let it all fall, okay? And then they'll just have some, you know, black swan event. Something will happen that'll trigger it all, okay? I don't know what that's going to be, but it's going to happen. And I do believe strongly that it's going to be this year, only because Christine Lagarde had this whole big speech about the magic number 7. And I mean, why would you even talk about the magic number 7? I mean, who talks about that in the financial institutes? I remember at the time we were all just scratching our heads. And I mean, I was only just starting to find this information and starting to really look into it seriously around that time. And I knew that number 7 was important, and I probably at that time knew that it was connected to the ethereal plane. But we were trying to work out, well, why is she talking about this now, you know, and why is it important now in 2014? And I suppose a few of us thought, well, maybe they're going to crash everything now, you know, because we've known for a long time that the system's been very, very corrupted, and it's been on its last legs for many, many years. Everybody's been expecting it to collapse, and they just keep pumping more money into the system, and that's resulted in inflation. Okay, eventually when you keep pumping money into our system of capitalism, it results in hyperinflation, and that's where we're heading. And so so this is going to collapse the system. Whether that's going to be what collapses the system, hyperinflation, I don't know, but that is where we're heading, into a system with hyperinflation. That is where our monetary system is heading. So get ready to pay more for everything, like your food, your rent, your mortgage, everything like that is going up, your fuel. So they will play out that financial shit show, and I'm pretty sure they're going to do it this year, only because she was talking about the number 7, and 2023 is the number 7. After the financial shit show, it will be the war. Okay, the war is going to be their last card, because pretty much after they've nuked everything, there's not going to be much left for them to rule over. So they're not going to play that card until they absolutely have to. And just around that time is when we're going to be heading into the apocalypse anyway. So it's all going to culminate into a massive, massive shit show of nukes and really, really negative shit. Okay? So I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. It is what it is, guys. And so that's why it's important to understand this knowledge to the level you should, so that you understand that you're more than just your physical body. Because once you understand that, to the point where it's knowledge, it's wisdom, and you know it without a doubt, then you don't fear death. And if you don't fear death, then they don't have any power over you at all. Okay? They don't have any power over me. Hey, they can come and barge through my front door right now and take me away. They can go burn me at the stake. Okay? But they will never take away the knowledge I have of my soul, and they will never be able to destroy my soul. Okay, so that's where you want to get yourself. Okay, so that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how negative events are going to get. You're going to understand that you're more than just your physical body, and you just need to get through these dark days. That's all I can tell you, guys. That's why I keep just putting this knowledge out there, in the hope that you guys will go and research this further. Don't just listen to me. It will always be a belief if you listen to me. I'm not going to hand the truth to you on a silver platter. Nobody can do that. It's not how it works. The way truth works is that you have to confirm it for yourself continuously by researching different areas that keep confirming the same truths. That's what I've done over the last 12 years. I've gone cross-culture into theology, mythology, symbolism, legend, stories, numerology, everything. I've looked at every single piece of information, regardless of where it originated, okay? As long as it was ancient, I was reading it, okay? And that's what you have to do, because that is when this type of information becomes knowledge for you. Okay, it becomes wisdom. You understand it. You become the hermit. All right, on the number 9 card, you've reached number 9. Okay, number 9 is the culmination of all information and knowledge. You've become enlightened. Okay, because you have an understanding of who you are as a soul, as well as a physical person. Physical, mortal, human, and you know your position and your place in universal design. You understand that there's a prime creator, and you understand that there are divine souls, okay, and that they are among mankind, and that we will know them at some stage in the cycle, and that is coming soon. All of these idiotic modern Christians all clapping their hands with glee. Oh, Jesus is coming back soon. Jesus is coming back soon. Yes, Jesus is coming back soon with his people. 288 of them all together, and they're coming back with swords to wage war on the idiots that have screwed everything up, okay, and made a mess of everything because they've allowed the Antichrist to take full control. So anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I've posted all of the articles in my group if anybody wants to go and look at those articles, but you can just Google the headlines that I've got on the loop there with the pictures that I've been showing you. So yeah, be ready for these idiots to be pledging their allegiance to the false Messiah after the 6th of May, and be ready for things to get really dark and start escalating now that they're going to crown their false Messiah. And you know, you could even see that this was coming when the old bitch died, right? And remember, she lit up the DNA strand that went up the tree. Remember that? They were literally telling us to our faces that they own us, that they own our DNA, and that they are going to rule over us physically. Okay? And that was the beginning of it. And, you know, then she died. You know, how conveniently. I've done the number of days that she died, and it is actually a divine number. I think it was 96 days. I'm not sure. I've done a video on that. I think it's the coronation of the false king. You guys need to go listen to that live stream because I've got a lot more information there about all of the symbolism as well that they're using. But I just wanted to use this live stream just to reiterate what I was saying before about him being the false Messiah, but also to now show you that they want us, humanity, to pledge allegiance to the false Messiah of the Antichrists. Okay, so things are about to get dark, guys. So I hope you've enjoyed the hiatus. I hope you've enjoyed the calm before the storm, because shit is about to get real. And we just actually need to now, you know, as I said, go within, find out who you are. Okay, find out who you really are, because they don't want you to know. And if you want to take your power back, you need to go find out who you really are. All right, so I'm going to leave it there, guys. As I said, you can go and find all of those articles in my group, the MeWe group, which is Shift of the Ages. There is a link underneath this video. I do live streams every Sunday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for you guys over in the US, and for everybody in Australia, that's going to be 8:30 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on a Monday morning. At the moment, we're decoding the Gospel of Thomas, and I will continue to do that as well. All right, guys. Well, look, take care of yourselves, and just sit back and watch the show, because it's about to get very dark. Well, I'll leave it here. And as always, peace out.